What's up, everybody? Sorry for the late start. One of my magical items ran out of paper before the show, and I was scrambling to find the magical paper for the magical printer. Welcome to the Quantum Show. I am talking about magical items, but technology. So let's dive into it. And welcome to the chat, Diane. What's up? Amanda, what's going on? Hey there, Lynn, welcome. Samo, wow, everybody is showing up. Tim is here. What's up, Tim? Samo, and Sarah, sorry, Sarah. John, no memes. Renee, what's up, Jedi sister? Everybody, and okay, Renee. Rachel's in here somewhere. I haven't seen her name yet. There you are. What's up, Rachel? Man, yeah, today is an interesting show because I've been thinking about this for a long time. And why not bring it up on the show here today? So, magical items and technology, right? There have been a lot of things in the past that have been brought up. And I have, okay, here's my, I can't even find where I put the paper at. I have a whole ream of paper, so I'm just going to go what's on the screen here. Page one didn't didn't print, right? Or did it? I made it's my desktop publishing leaves a little bit to be desired when it comes to organizing. So yeah. So anyway, uh I'm calling it a wizard's toolkit. Actually, that's what Copilot called it. Copilot helped me use this, or helped me do this. My magic box was talking to me. Okay. Now, the things that she said were, let me go here. Let me see here. I have a lot of notes to go through, and unfortunately, they're all digital. Okay. And okay. Anyway, examples of these magical items off the top of our head: magic wands. That's a remote. It controls the window of the wizard's window, right? And it is keyed only to that. I have the light stick. There's or the wand of the sun, okay? Or whatever, right? That's a magical item that could have been misinterpreted back in the day. The Ifrit's touch. The Ifrit's touch. How cool is that, right? We have magical items all over the place. The the scrying mirror. We've talked about this one before. The scrying mirror. That's a phone. That's an iPhone, or not an iPhone, but and the magic mirror that you need. The magic mirror, people, everyone. The magic mirror. You push the button, and you need the code, the encrypted code, right? Magic item. Or is it just technology? Okay. So, how did y'all like that thumbnail? How did you like the thumbnail? Let me look, see. How did you like the thumbnail? I have not even touched on my notes yet. Too much. I liked it. I'm going to bring it up right now. I really did like that. because usually I have an alien, but this is a wizard using the items that would be magical to him, okay? But we're using them now. What do you have? You have an Amazon Echo, you have an iPad on the wall, a digital, maybe a digital uh a frame, for pictures. You touch it and the next thing goes on. The touch lamps, it's not pictured there. And he's on an Apple laptop, an iBook. And next to him, he's sitting in a castle, but next to him are arts and crafts. Well, I happen to have the same type of arts and crafts things here. Now, these are copper. These are just copper discs meant for making pendants. Okay. They're pretty heavy and they're thicker than I thought they would be when I ordered them. Copper. And also, I have some, of course, quartz crystals, right? Quartz crystals. Now, we all know quartz crystal is the basis for a lot of technology already. And also have copper wire. This is what Copilot said, the holy trinity of magical techno items. And I agree. I will be making a video of me making making a magic amulet using that stuff. Okay. Only that stuff. And the idea is to have the copper disc on the bottom, and I'm going to solder the wires to the sides or the bottom of it, to the sides of it, and then I'm going to use my little file and create coils, wrap them around that, make coils around it, make 2 or 3 coils, okay? And then I'm going to take the other end of that wire coming off that coil and make a swirl. That's also a holy item that we see all over the place. Etchings in rocks, temples and cathedrals, okay? Well, that's also an antenna. And if you understand how signals work, that's a directional antenna. It radiates in one direction. So and then I'm going to dunk the whole thing in clear resin or hot glue. Hot glue, right? Except for the bottom. And then put it on a chain, put it on a pendant, okay? Then when you rub the bottom of it, okay, what happens when you rub an ungrounded surface, an insulated ungrounded surface? You create a small charge. Well, that goes through the wire into the coils. Coils gather it. It shoots it out the other end into the antenna, radiation antenna, into the coils, and it goes out. But it also is going to have a crystal right in the middle of all of it. What is it going to do? I don't know. Let's find out. Am I going to be in and shooting lightning out of my fingertips? I don't know. We'll find out when I do it. So, sorry. Yeah, I'm pretty jacked up on the mushroom coffee tonight, right? Speaking of magical items, mushroom coffee and a magic mug that shows the sky and Good Morning UFO when it's hot. But then when it's empty, it turns dark. Witchcraft, I tell you. Witchcraft and wizardry. So, yeah, and I have also other. I can't believe it. I thought I just put it full of paper, right? But I've got some things here. Okay, touch lamps, motion lights, electric lighters in general, plasma cutters. These are all things that they could make back then, but they didn't know how. They didn't understand. They had all the stuff, but they didn't understand electronics, electricity, conductivity. And I was just talking about all these things and plasma. Okay. Before we had telephones, we had telegraphs. Not a lot of people understood how to use proper grounding, right? And what they would do is they would have batteries under here, and while you're using it, they were ungrounded. So plasma in a dark room, plasma would light up around them in little sparks. So you could see, I keep seeing sparks by my foot where the battery is. Ungrounded. They didn't understand grounding. Now that's for telegraphs. And then they would wind it up before they had batteries. They would wind it up and it would go into big wrapped capacitors, also ungrounded. Wind it up, and the capacitors would be the juice that would go over the lines. So you had magic, or no, just unknown science at the time. Other things, okay? Bluetooth speakers, singing stone, or a speaking stone, okay? And like when you have car keys, we have keyless ignition now. If you leave your keys on the table and go out to your car, if the door will even open for you, you just push the button. But if you don't have that on you, the car won't do anything. That is an amulet from back in the day. The door opens for the master that has the amulet. That sounds like keyless entry to me. How about you? Okay. And AI came up with some kind of crazy ones, right? That I wasn't really sure about, like touchscreen gloves. I don't know about too many touchscreen gloves, okay? But amulets that modern equivalent for ancient things. Okay, since I don't have it printed out, I'm gonna go by what I know, right? What's up, Bossy? Now, magic items as misunderstood technology. Back in the day, there were items, amulets, rings, wands, magic mirrors. We've gone over all of this already. What could they have been, and where did they get them? What Now we understand misunderstood technology, but the further question is, where did they get it? Where did they get it to be able to use it in the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, or before that? But they were not technologically advanced to develop that stuff. Where did they get it? Did they find it? I think they may have found it or instructions on how to do it. And a biblical example of this is the Ark of the Covenant. Oh, yes, the Ark of the Covenant. Links will be in the description after the show. The Old Testament gives very specific instructions on how to construct an Ark of the Covenant. There are parts missing. Now, what you're making is a capacitance transfer device. Okay, capacitant transfer device. But the stones on the inside, what were those stones made of? That could have been reactive to gold, insulated, ungrounded gold. What could that have been? Or could the stones have been given to them like a computer? Because if you have somebody and you hand them something like this, they're going to think it's a box made of something. It's not wood, but it's not granite. What is it? If you put this, okay, but it's a magical device to them. Because what happens? Watch me get in trouble. Watch me get in trouble. I can't play it on. That's actual music. I can't play it on YouTube. But how does that work? It lights up and it makes noise. Witchcraft, I tell you, wizards among us. And I don't have a hugely structured show tonight, but I do have the ability to talk about magical items. Here we go. This is the mug of signaling how much drink you have. The mug of signaling. So that's that could be a magical item. It's a party trick. But where did they get that idea back then? I was watching Harry Potter earlier. Yes, I was. I was watching Harry Potter, and I watched the scene in I forget, the kettle bar, whatever, right? Whatever the bar was. And he was picking up the glasses and they were just disappearing into his rag. That's an old interpretation, an old school interpretation of disposable cups and plates, right? You just crush them down and you get them out of your way and you just crush them down. Paper plates, paper cups, crush them down, and you're making a big ball of stuff. But the people don't see that. I was like, I know where they got this from now. Oh, I forgot. Yes. Let me let me do that. Thank you, Samo. I appreciate it. Reminding me to go. I need to take care of this. I thought I had plenty of time, but apparently I did not because I ran out of paper, didn't plug the link. Thank you, Samo. And shout out Cryptid Huntress that's on right now. And also Mystery History. What am I doing? Alien Addict was on a little while ago. Shout out to everyone who is Quantum. Alrighty then. Since Samo did it for me, I'm going to comment. Samo, your comment is pinned. I meant to do that myself, but I thought I had plenty of time. Apparently, I didn't. So, yeah, I'm looking at. Oh, what's up, Michigan? What's up, Wayne and Michelle? Thanks for coming by. I'm talking about magical items as technology and where did we get them back in the day? I wish I had links and things to show. All I got is me. I will show a lot of that stuff in the first part of the panel. Okay. But yeah, I'm talking. And on the wizard, right? The picture of the wizard. I showed arts and crafts. He is using arts and crafts supplies that you just go to buy at Hobby Lobby. Look, he's got string and maybe wire, some stones, some glue and scissors, and this is supposed to be tape and or Velcro. So, and it's like he's making an order right now to go pick up, but he's sitting in a giant castle. And there's his Amazon Echo and the iPad on the wall. And it makes perfect sense to me that these could be misinterpreted as magic items because we're literally living in the future right now. I'm talking to you. Yeah, Gandalf. Like Gandalf. Oops. Uh-oh. We're not live this Sunday, but maybe Monday night instead. Okay. Monday night's actually just as good as Sunday night for me because I'll be at work. Okay. So you have the wizard doing wizard-like things, and he's actually placing an order to go pick up at Hobby Lobby right this moment. That's very wizardy type of things. What's up, Ben? And Monty's here. I didn't see you, Monty. I'm sorry. I have one of those. But I quit using it because it crackles and it doesn't sound very good. I have a new one. I have a whatever this one is. Let me see here. Come here. Whatever this one is, right? I'll go ahead and take Mr. Wizard off the stage. But he'll be there for us. I have this one. This is the Echo Dot second gen? Third? I don't know. I've renamed. Oh. AI. I'm still gonna do magic items, that's one, right? That's a demon in a box, right? You just call on it and it answers. Like, hey Alexa, what time is it?
The current time is 9:27 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Nathan.
Boom! Magical item. Shall I do it again? Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat? No, I'm not going to do that. But we're using technology that would be considered magic in a lot of places. If we go, okay, that's why uncontacted tribe. Okay. Anyway, I'm not even going to talk about uncontacted tribes. But this is a touch light. Come on, you. Are the batteries dead? Nope, there it is. Touch light, right? And it's magnetic. Also magnetic. It touched my Ifrit's touch. And it sticks to the Ifrit's touch. All these things. And I just wonder, where did they get it back in the day? Right? Where did they get these items? And how did they learn to make them? Okay, I'm talking body armor, full plate mail, the swords that shot lightning. What was that? Right now, a lot of these things we've already figured out, and it wasn't magic; it was science. You had Rome, Greek ships would polish mirrors of bronze mirrors, and they would focus sunlight on a ship and it would catch on fire. No one knew about that. We still don't know what Greek fire is. Okay. The best we got is white phosphorus, but that's not what Greek fire was. Okay. It kind of acts the same way, but we still don't know what Greek fire is or what it was back in the day. See, the cup is showing how full it is by the temperature of the liquid inside of it changing color. Shout out Alien Girl 111. Good morning, UFO. And I wanted to talk about you see the wizard doing arts and crafts. Well, we do arts and crafts. We did some at the Quantum Fest, and we came up with, here's one of them. Let me get him out over here. Here's one of them right here. That was made at the Quantum Fest. This is a crystal wrapped in copper. Okay. And now I know she didn't realize what she was doing, but she made a coil up here. That right there, that is a coil of copper. It's a redundant coil, but it's wrapped around quartz crystal. Okay. Now, if I was to add a charge to this, how I would use a wireless charger. Set this on a wireless charger. I don't even want to know what happens. Okay. But I'm going to find out because I've got all my other stuff over here. Copper wire, quartz crystal, hot glue, copper discs. I'm going to make a few of those things. And I bet I can make them do stuff. Rub the back for a few seconds and shoot lightning. It's not going to shoot lightning. That would be a very large copper thing. That would be like a stun gun. That would be a stun gun. I should show you my stun gun and how it works. It's pretty damn cool. Let me see here. Where is it now? This works on the same principle as what I'm thinking. What to do with it? I keep it down here just in case. Well, it's usually down here. It'll turn up, but it's about yay long. I bought it on Amazon, and it's like looks like this, except it's about yay long. And you turn it to stun, and you see an arc go across the little electrodes. Right? We've all seen these for sale, seen them demonstrated. So nothing magical about it. However, um, it would have been magical to people back in the day. Full body armor. Something they don't show in the movies is the bodysuit worn underneath was an insulator. It didn't let your skin touch the metal anywhere. So that became like a Faraday cage and an insulator and a conductor. So you could handle electricity. Not necessarily, not very high voltage, but still electricity. And that would be they were talking. Now I read an article. I need to have these links ready. This is what I get for not preparing for a show up until an hour before, but that's okay. Here we are. A Baghdad battery. You get one of those, you shake it up, right? You shake it up, and it starts the electrical charge. The cable coming out of it goes into the sword or the pike that the guy is using, and it becomes an emitter. Okay, and people are excellent at attracting lightning. Well, he's got lightning. He's armed with lightning. Now he has a sword that can shoot lightning. And it really can, because those guys are all wearing copper, bronze, which is conductive, okay? But they're not insulated. That's how they got it. And that happened. Ironically, that stuff started happening after the raid in the Middle East. They went over there, and even the Quran says the men from the West came, and they went into the caves of the gods, and they were dressed in the clothing of the gods. What does that mean? Okay, now we're talking about medieval Dark Age people, talking about knights going in, Knights Templar going in the Crusades and coming out dressed in the clothes of the gods. What does that mean? Because they found something. I'm not going to go into all that. We're just talking about the physical items today, right? So at work, I have to use an ID card with RFID in it so the door will unlock. That would have been considered magical back in the day. That is a pass key. And also something we don't think of as being any kind of weird or any kind. This is a USB drive. Now this one happens to have pictures on it, right? But to someone who doesn't understand, you plug this into, let's say, a computer, okay? It boots up to this. It is a starting stone. You don't work it until you have the starting stone. That sounds like a magical item. That sounds like something straight out of Dungeons and Dragons. You know, Gary Gygax, eat your heart out. And again, I've gone over the list of things I have right in front of me. You know, the Ifrit's touch. There's the Ifrit's touch or an Ifrit's finger. Okay. And like the light stick. What were these things back in the day? They were being misidentified. And the one thing, Alex Calvo, his link will be in the description. I've talked about him a lot. I don't even know if he knows about this show. Alex Calvo found a Van Helsing box that belonged to his great grandfather. It had all the monster hunting stuff you could think of. All of it could be faked, all of it could be bought in stores and whatever, except one thing, right? It had been sealed since who knows how long. And let's benefit of the doubt, 1950s, okay? 1950s. If you were to have a bow or crossbow from the 1950s, it's never used, it's put in a box forever until you find it in 2020, okay? So we're talking about 1950, that's 70 years, okay? 50, yeah, that's 70 years. What's the condition of that bow, wood metal compound bow or crossbow? What condition is it going to be in? There's going to be some rust. There's going to be some break in the wood, especially if it's strung. There was a crossbow in there and it was strung. It was ready to go. That made me think there's something else going on here. All the other stuff, there's a lot of stuff in there. There was a sword, like a Roman sword, and it looked old. It did not look like something you would buy from knives.com or whatever, okay? And it was a trunk. It was a big trunk, like a giant vintage steamer trunk. Old. And it had stuff in it from the 1860s, I think. Cowboy days. I say cowboy days because the newest thing in it was an 1870 Colt revolver with silver bullets. It had a box, everything rusty, dirty, tarnished, with 6 silver bullets that it showed, right? It just showed there. And that was the newest thing in the box. Everything else was ancient looking. A gladiator sword, about yay long, with just that, a gladiator sword, a Roman sword. There was so much stuff in the box. Potions, skulls, knives for vampires, things to kill a vampire hunting kit in there, okay? Ash tree stakes and ashwood stakes and things to kill werewolves and vampires. And it was a monster hunter kit and it looked so legit. Also, the crossbow. The crossbow was strung. Here's the thing about holy items. They don't decay at a normal rate, an expected rate. They don't. If you get something that was blessed, like seriously blessed by a pope or a big chief or something like a pope, then it will not decay. It may wear and tear, but it will be the toughest item you ever own. Be like, this thing will never stop working. My experience with that, when I was in Germany, I was given a bag, just a backpack, not a fancy one, not a super expensive one, something bought at the PX. It was given to me by my friend. She was into Wicca. She was into the whole magic thing, right? And she just gave it to me, okay? She gave it to me, and it was fine. I used that bag for over 20 years. Seriously, I used that bag for over 20 years. It was indestructible. I threw it in the back of trucks. I crawled around under vehicles, walked through construction buildings, getting it snagged on everything. It never tore. The zipper would never get stuck. The buttons never wore out. The straps were tough. I slung it in my trunk, my backseat. I used it for 20 years. I didn't know why it was so tough. I thought, wow, that's great quality. That's all I thought of. And then one day, I'm sitting at my computer, much like I am right now, and I had that bag sitting next to me on the bed, much like the bed is over here now. And I was ironically on Facebook looking at her Facebook profile, and she had just had her baby, her first child. I looked over at the bag. I was like, man, I got that from her. She gave it to me 20 years ago. It's now 30 years ago, but she gave it to me 20 years ago. I watched that bag disintegrate in front of my eyes. I watched the stitching it was like a zipper. It like all of that protection and toughness that was in it just evaporated. It just went away, and all the abuse that it had taken caught up with it. The zipper literally, I wasn't even touching it. It was just disintegrating. I was like watching the straps just come detached, rips just form in it. I was like, what is it is falling apart. I'm not even touching it. And it is just disintegrating. You name it, right? The zipper broke. The buttons were breaking right from my eyes. It didn't happen all at once, but it was happening very quickly. I mean, I went to zip it up. It wouldn't zip up. The zipper was broken. I went to put it on my shoulder. The strap was ripped off of it. I was like, what the hell? I went to pull it by the handle on top, the little loop. The loop broke. It just had 20 years of use put on it in a few minutes. I would say it's insane and crazy if I hadn't seen it myself, and I would have thought I was lying. But I still have it, and it's still in that decrepit state that it's in because it lasted so long. But what had happened was when she gave me that bag, she had imbued her energy on it. I believe because it happened when she had her child, maiden mother crone, she went from maiden to mother, and that energy was reallocated. It was no longer for things, it was for her and her daughter. The relationship, I don't know past that. I just know that for the whole time I had that bag until she had her daughter, it was indestructible. I slept on it. I slung it around. I rode on the back of trucks, all of it. You name it. I did it with this bag. It was damn near indestructible until she had her child. And then it fell apart and it acted like a cheap Walmart bag after that. The seams came apart. The zipper broke. The buttons broke. The straps tore off, all while sitting on my couch or sitting on my bed, excuse me. It was nutty. And if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I'd have thought I was lying. I hadn't seen it. I still have it. And I've tried to sew it. Doesn't work. It does not work. It does not like being sewn. So that is one idea about holy items. Alex Calvo's items. That crossbow, the string looked immaculate. Okay, now, of all the stuff in there, I was like, man, this is stupid. This is stupid. What is that? He had a holy item, and he had a magical item. It was not, and he had a box full of magical items. Okay, I refer you to Alex Calvo is Haunted on YouTube, and Alex Calvo, anything ghost haunted or anything, look on it. Sons of Man calling you out. They're a secret society from the Vatican, from the Middle Ages. They were an offshoot of the Knights Templar after first Black Friday. Okay. And yeah. But Alex Calvo's items, of all the things, that crossbow made me think, huh? And then there's the clock. The clock was amazing. Now, keep in mind, this guy's a millennial and he's doing stuff on his phone using TikTok as his chosen platform. I don't like TikTok as a platform for disseminating any kind of information. Okay. So what he was doing is he was exploring. He inherited his great grandfather's and then grandfather and grandmother, then grandmother, his property. They passed away and he inherited it. And it's this place in Florida that they had in the family for a long, long time. And he went and found this giant trunk. It was a big one. 2 trunks actually, and a couple of little boxes from the 60s. And in it, in one of the boxes, the trunks, was this clock. This is the trip of all of it, right? There's nothing else, nothing tops this. This clock, when you hear steampunk, you hear the funny thing about, glue some gears to it and, make it look like it's doing something. Well, no, this was original, old school, wind up. It wasn't exactly a cuckoo clock, right? But it was a wind up clock. And it had all the Gothic accoutrements to it, okay? It had the brass rails, the handcrafted this and that. Everything's handcrafted. Nothing on this screen like J.C. Penney imported, made, nothing like that, right? This was old Middle Ages clock. And it was big. Well, for a clock, it was big. It was this, like this. And he heard something when he was moving it. He heard something inside and he tipped it over. And in the bottom of this clock was a cardboard thing that was attached to this cavity in this clock. So he broke the cardboard out. There was no undoing it. Apparently it was 100 years old, right? 200 years old. So this cardboard, which was handmade, the cardboard was cool too, right? It wasn't like cereal box or stuff that we get in Amazon. No, it was some handmade board of card. Okay. He knocked it out. And inside was a bag and a bunch of items, right? And he went through them, and that was cool. And then he was like, okay, well, he just kind of arranged he busted the cardboard out like a flap, and he just tucked it back right. It was torn, and you could see it was torn. Okay. And he goes along and he keeps making his YouTube videos, and he's doing this, he's doing that. And that was on not YouTube, but TikTok video. That was on one video. And then you could see the clock in the other videos sitting on his grandmother's piano. That was dusty. That's a key point. It was dusty and it had big fat feet on it to where you could see where he had put it there and moved it around because it's heavy, all metal, all brass and bronze and stuff, clockwork stuff in it, real stuff. And then one day he comes up and says, hey, somebody broke in and stole the clock, and I'm mad. He showed where it was. It was on the piano. You know what else was on the piano? Unbroken dust. Nothing had been stacked on that piano. And I was like, that's weird. Okay. And at this point, I don't think he's on it for real. It started as I'm seeing ghosts in my grandmother's house. And then he's finding all these artifacts. And the stuff in the trunk was cool. I was hooked when I saw the crossbow. Then he brought up the clock. And then he found out that the clock had been stolen. He's like, what? What is going on? And he called the police. The police couldn't help him because there was no signs of break. But he was mad about having been broke into, right? And he was blaming the sons of man. Well, he goes back through just on a whim. He's still looking for all these items that are tucked away in all these places. And he finds another big trunk. So he's up to 3 trunks now. And I'm like, oh, cool. And he goes, guys, you're not going to believe this. He opens it on camera. It's the clock. It's in here, and it looks like it hasn't been touched in 100 years. The whole trunk is, you can tell when something's been redusted, where people throw dust on it. It doesn't look like dust fell onto it. This doesn't look like that. This looked like dust fell on it. And it was in a place, and I reviewed the videos, right? I'm not looking at the chat right now. Like and subscribe if you're here, you're quantum, okay? Of all the cat videos, of all the internet, you ended up here. Thank you for being here. On with the show. I'm trying to get this out there. So he goes and he puts the clock back on the piano, and you can see it break the dust in the top of the piano. I am very critical. And I'm like, dude, I emailed him. I'm like, if you're lying, I'm going to come to Florida and I'm going to kick your ass because I love this story so much. I told him that. Thankfully, he didn't like dox me or anything. That would not have been good. But he was like, okay, now I found the clock, but what about it? He tilts it over again. The cardboard is back in place. I'm like, what? He's like, oh my God, the cardboard is back. But I tore it. How did it get put on there? It looks like it's never been touched. He's still got the stuff. How does that? I mean, he looked at the stuff and it was a whole bunch of stuff, right? Just that's for another time. But he broke it again, and this time there's nothing in it but a note. And it says, I don't remember exactly what it says, but it says something like, "You're doing good work, Alex." His name is Alex. And he's like, oh my God, is this a time travel clock? I believe it was a time travel clock. I don't know how it got to be in that condition from him breaking it. He thought that's something. He thought he broke it. He thought he overwound it. And somebody tried to steal it, or he thought somebody tried to steal it. And when he put it back on the piano, you could see it breaking the dust that was on the piano that had never been broken before. But you saw it in a previous video on the piano. I was like, oh man, I hope you're not lying, because I am all in now. You pushed every button I got. Now you've got time travel. Oh yeah. So he's in Florida trying to sell books on anyway, this is not an Alex Calvo show. He was just a very big part of it. Shout out Alex Calvo. I hope you find the Quantum Show at some point. I was talking to you, and I urged you to go to YouTube. I'm glad you did. Write nonfiction. Write about the stuff you got. Just catalog it. Publish the catalog. That's going to be your best book. Okay. I do have your Hexen book. I do. I bought it. I was one of the first people. I thought I bought it. But okay. But those are magical items that have survived up until now. Now, we know about a lot of that stuff. But there's also what I refer to here as the quantum link, right? What makes those items work? It's not the item itself. They don't do anything by themselves. We have to interact with it. The Ifrit's touch doesn't work without the wizard to operate it, right? I'm that wizard. I understand how it works. But a Middle Ages person wouldn't understand what this is. Ifrit's touch, right? I love that. I came up with that. Copilot did not come up with that. I forget what Copilot called it, but it was not. It was not a very good name. And she was like, the stick of sunlight. And I'm like, that sounds kind of hokey. And I renamed a bunch of stuff. And I say, you know what? At Copilot, I've got a leg up on you, because I was the 4-year-old who saw technology and didn't understand it and thought it was cool. You know, they were wanting to say, she was wanting to call this the key to all memory. And I'm like, no, that's after you understand what it is and you make it up beforehand. You see the effect of something, you don't see how it works. You don't have that context yet. You just see this thing. And you see when somebody attaches it to the window to the gods, that it starts it. So it's a starting stone, a boot disc. Shout out Tim, boot disc, right? Bootable USB. And it is a starting stone. And but where did they get those things? Right? Magic wands. Okay. We have magic wands. We call them remotes. All those things. Where did they get that idea? Where did they get those ideas? Where did they get those things? And I would love to dive into some of these sources that are out there in the panel. I don't have links now, right? I don't have links now. I do have, well, we're cooked up all those ideas, right? We got the scrying mirror, the magic mirror, mirror, mirror on the wall. Hey, Siri, you know, that kind of stuff. I don't want to say it too loud. Where is she? I mean, I don't even know where my phone is. How am I supposed to operate? But yeah, we've got all those things. Where did they get these ideas? Because just like anything, we draw from our own past. We draw from our own experience. We draw from the stories. Star Trek, the communicator. Now, we didn't get this from the Dark Ages. We got this from Star Trek, straight up. They had tablets and communicators and facial recognition, hand ID, all that stuff, right? We got those ideas from Star Trek, and they were already ideas in science, but they hadn't been put in practice yet. Seriously, I got to find my phone here in a minute. I don't know where it is. What did I do? Oh, okay, there it is, I think. Yeah. Okay, it's safe right there. It's all right. So those things, what were they? Well, they didn't survive. Very few things survived from the Middle Ages. Some did, and I want to look around and maybe look on the internet about what did survive from the Middle Ages to now. I know there are a bunch of swords, a bunch of axes, and armor, but the bodysuits, a lot of them didn't make it because we're talking hundreds of years with leather and pitch. Okay. And flares, fireballs. That was a flare. That was a Roman candle. Because if you shoot a Roman candle at somebody, there's a good chance something over there is going to burn, right? And people, the kinds of fabrics they had back then, they didn't have fire retardant anything back then, okay? And people who would go to China or Asia, they would come back with fireworks and they would use them as weapons. We were eventually, the Europeans were figuring things out, right? Europeans were figuring things out and they were using all these things, but for a lot of the time, it was magic, it was alchemy. Now we call it science. And the light bulb was magic, okay? I need to find that story about that French castle that had flashing lights in it in the Middle Ages. It sounds like electrical lighting with bad connections, right? I need to look that up. And I cannot look at the comments. I am going to now look at the comments. We're at the end of the show, with the end of the first hour. Right. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. And yeah, what's up, Justin? I didn't see you come in. I just watched a thing on I saw that one too. I watched that one too. Barclay's holodeck addiction from TNG and how AI is being used as a primitive version of what happened in that episode. I don't agree fully with that, right? I know exactly what you're talking about, right? That's okay, screen. Yeah, this is what two girl. Oh my gosh, dude, no. Well, half of us are Captain Kirk then. Thank you, Diane. And let me see here. Looking at. Here we go. Justin is talking about, you ask about the seeing stone. Well, they have a mirror. I wish I had a mirror that reflected in another location than the one I'm looking at. It's simply that easier. Closed circuit television tablet screens. There you go. Okay. It's not exactly the Akashic records, but that's what ring cameras. Okay. Closed circuit television. And Sarah saying, I stole Tim because something knocked over my outside trash can but didn't trigger my security lights. Uh-oh. Hope that's okay. Hope everything's okay. That was like 3 minutes ago. Let us know if it's Bigfoot or any kind of cryptid, but I'm betting it's like a possum or a raccoon. I will check that out. Tartaria Vault. All right. Right. Most things, not all things. I still want to know about several different things. Okay. The Ark of the Covenant is one. That is a big one. Yeah. He wishes he had an iPhone. I know, right? And let me see here. I am going to make that thing and I'm probably going to record it. Probably do a time lapse using the copper and the crystal. I know. See, I have a document, but I ran out of paper and I don't have the first page. I was wanting to do like DIY versions of ancient magical relics, but I missed the first page. This is one. Now, little did she know she was making a coil attached via copper to a crystal. Every bit of this has electrical uh ability. Every bit of this, right? Okay, I'm looking around. All right. That's enough for that. So, we are almost at an hour. We're at 58 minutes and ticking, right? Thanks everybody for being here. This has been the Quantum Show solo. I talked about magic items as technology. Most of them have been explained away because copper, crystals, wire, all of it are magical components if you magic on them enough, right? And that is soldering, hot glue, attach some crystals, make some coils out of wire, right? And you've got coils attached to a charging device, attached to a radiant device, a radiator, an antenna. But then what happens when you pump that crystal full of electricity in your coil antenna? I don't know. I want to find out. Thanks everybody. This has been the Quantum Show, talking magic items. Now I'm going to be pushing buttons. This is Aussie is reminding me and reminding all of us, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're here, you're quantum. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate it. I think I had fun too. Not a very good structured show. I didn't have segments. I just kind of ranted and gave information. It's been a hoot. I will set up the panel very soon. Thanks, everybody. Pushing buttons. See you on the panel show. Thanks, everybody. Pushing buttons.